what's up? This is Mitch Williams. I'm an alcoholic addict, and this is the PMR Podcast, episode 1.
What up, y'all? This is Andrew Staley. I'm an addict alcoholic. Happy to be here. Welcome to episode 1. What up, Mitch?
What's up? I'm glad we finally got on a Zoom to get it going.
Bro, I mean, we have been trying to do this for, I feel like we've known each other for years at this point. I've known this man, I don't know, what's it been? 2 months?
2 months, yeah.
If that.
We've been talking.
Yeah, that's true. But we've been busy, man. We've been busy. What have you been doing?
I've been working. I've been very busy. We're talking about that. But I have my own little side business, and then trying to get this shit popping, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
tell me about this shit. What is it?
So PMR stands for Present Moment Recovery. And so I started that Instagram in quarantine, actually. I think the reason I started it was because I always felt like let's see. I'm 5.5 years sober. And so I got into recovery like while I was in college. Felt a little isolated because of that. Didn't like have a sense of community too much. And so after I graduated college, we all went into quarantine in 2020. And I'd always felt like there should be more openness about recovery, because it's kind of stigmatized and a little bit kept in the shadows kind of thing, like a hush hush thing. So I started the PM Recovery page on Instagram first. Not even posting like my face or anything like that. It was really just like inspirational shit or recovery quotes, or like old shit from the AA book, the big book, shit that like really connected with me. And then I would like pull stuff that I heard in meetings and stuff like that. And I think I posted on it initially like maybe like 4 days in a row and then stopped, which is like kind of like what happens when a lot of people are like, I'm going to do something. They do it for like a week. And then I posted like once every couple of days for a while. And then I think it was this past November, I was with some of my boys in Chicago. And I was like, fuck it, I really want to start taking this more seriously. If anything, I just want to have one post per day. So I just started posting daily on the page. I just like slowly, I've gotten better, like better posts, like looking better. It used to be like this like black and white or black and gray Phoenix that was like all chopped together, looked like it got made on PowerPoint. I'm just trying to get better with it and bringing friends in that are like artists and stuff like that know more about how to make it look good and stuff like that. I think I just started adding hashtags like a month ago, which is, a sweaty way to get more views, but just been trying to grow it. And then the progression from that is that I've been looking like almost exactly to when I met you or got put in contact with you, which is, as you and I both know, kind of how things work.
Yes, sir.
Been looking for someone to like start making videos with, more than just like a post that someone can like click like and whatever. Like I wanted there to be more engagement, and like I feel like we can get a lot more across talking, especially since we're both like young in recovery. I just think it's something that we should capitalize on, because there's a lot of people that are young struggling, or young struggling with addiction, that don't think you can stop right now, or don't think they can get help right now, or like think it's normalized and it's co-signed and shit. And then there's a lot of people that are also like us, young in recovery, that when they get into recovery kind of fall into that like hush hush like thing. Not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like if you're in a comfortable spot in your recovery and you feel like you can talk about it and share your story, I feel like it's important to do that.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, us coming together is absolute higher power shit right there. Like, which is funny as hell for me to be talking like that, because you asked me 2 years ago if I believe in a higher power or in the universe or anything like that. I'm like, nah, you're an idiot, right? Um, but I mean, the evidence is everywhere. Like, I didn't know you at all in school. I went to school with you for 3 years, and I had no idea who you were.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
craziest thing behind all of this is that you and I went to the same college, and now we're both sober and we didn't even know each other.
no idea who you were, man. And just to speak on the page, like, I think what you're doing is like, I guess what we're doing now, right?
Yes, sir.
Is so powerful because, one thing I struggle with as a young person in recovery is thinking like, nobody wants to hear this. Like nobody wants to see, you know, what I'm struggling with, or hear any wisdom that I might have, be it from the big book or whatever. And I think like the most powerful thing that you do is that page is like, you don't hide anything. Like, this is a page about recovery. You know what I mean? Like, and it not only that, but like, this is my page. Like, you put it out there. Like, I'm Mitch, and this is my page about drug addiction and about recovery. And I think when I saw that, it inspired me. Like, what do I have to hide? Because this thing that we deal with, man, this thing is life or death. But anyway, man, like, what I'm inspired by is the fact that, like, pretty much unprompted, and you're, you know, a, in your mid 20s, at a time when people our age are getting absolutely fucked up every weekend. Like, that's what I thought social life was. Like, we get drunk, we get high, and that's it.
Right.
And you've put yourself out there, saying, no, this is my life. This is my struggle, and this is also my success. Like, and I think that when Zoe told me about you, shout out Zoe.
Yeah.
Like, I was so ecstatic to meet you, because I saw your page and I said, this dude cares about recovery. Like, this dude's all in.
Yeah.
And the other thing that blew my mind, man, and that I have to hear more about, because I haven't heard everything, is like, she's like, yeah, he's like 5 years sober. I'm like, bro, that man's like 24 years old. How is he 5 years sober? Like, there's like, what do you mean? Like, the math wasn't adding up in my head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bro, we got to hear a little bit how you got into this.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of those guys that got sober before their first legal drink. I got sober at 20. And which is kind of trippy. And honestly, I thought, like, early in recovery, and I'm sure anyone that's like young that gets into recovery or thinking about it or has tried it and gone back, that I had a lot of those thoughts like, bro, you just turned 21. Like, how bad could it be? You know what I mean? So I turned 21 when I had about like 6 or 7 months. So I was still pretty fragile in my recovery. Like, I didn't really have that super strong of a foundation. I mean, it was pretty strong, but you know what I mean? Like, it was hard to have that birthday and not like want to be like, let's get fucked up.
Oh yeah.
But how I got sober that early was basically the environment I grew up. I grew up in Baltimore, in kind of well, I guess the middle school and high school culture was like drinking and doing drugs earlier than a lot of other places, or than some other places. So I started drinking and partying in like 8th grade, which is not too crazy early. I've heard of earlier, but there was a fast progression from like my first drink in 8th grade to like doing coke sophomore year and like smoking, like we getting like blackout drunk, like not party fun drunk, like destroyed. That was like the group I was with. that's just like what we did. And so was partying all through high school. But like we were saying, like it was co-signed. Like I was in a group of like 10 dudes plus, and the other dudes and like girls that we hung out with did the same thing. So it was all good. I mean, we had parents like drinking with us, partying with us. Like there was no one, the only person, I mean, there were people saying it was bad or like you shouldn't be doing that or you should watch it. But as you know, when anyone tells you that when you're in addiction, you just go like that. You know, you just like flip them off. Like they don't
Doesn't
know what
matter
they're
who it
talking
is,
about.
bro.
Right. Like they don't know what they're talking about. I'm fine, all that type of shit. So it progressed like that. And then went to Denison in 2019, which would have been the year before you got there. Um, and was a mess there too. Like that was when I had free reign for everything. Like smoking all the time. I think I was super proud of being high for 3 years in a row, like off of something for 3 years in a row, consistent, like morning to bed. That was like a streak that I had kept that I was like super proud of. Like I thought that was cool as fuck. But yeah, my freshman year, we both went to Denison for sports. I went there for swimming, and swam terribly my first half of my first year because I came in actually my freshman year with a broken arm because I punched a hole in a wall the summer going to college and fractured my wrist, drunk as fuck. So it was just a crazy first year, and then I'm sure we'll get into more of the details and shit at some point, but basically the summer going into my sophomore year, I lived by myself and shit skyrocketed for me because of some personal shit that I had found out. And then just the natural progression of like the drugs that I was doing weren't doing it for me anymore. Not getting me to that emptiness or that like quiet place that I was trying to reach all the time because my head was so loud. But came back to school, got into another fight with a teammate, and then I got written up for weed, got arrested twice my freshman year, and then once coming back sophomore year. And then I got kicked off the swim team. I met with like the dean of Denison, and he was like, "Yo, you're like one more thing for the rest of your time here before we kick you out." And then I started having a lot of people telling me like, "You should like think about rehab. You should think about actual help." And I had been hearing that before, but I was like, I'm good, bro. Like you guys are dragging it. You know what I mean? My mom even I had like I don't know if you've ever seen the intervention show on fucking, I don't know what channel it's on, but my mom had a full ass intervention with me after I got kicked off the swim team because I came home for fall break. A full on interventionist. My mom was there. My grandma wrote a letter. This guy Todd, who's like my main role model, was there, and I got them. I was like, I freaked out. I tried to leave, couldn't leave, came back, and then I made a deal. I was like, give me 2 more weeks, which is like the most addict shit ever. I was like, 2 more weeks, and if I can't get it together by then I'll go to rehab, because the deal was you either go to rehab like today, or we're like cutting you off type shit. My grandma said that in a note, which really affected me. So then I went back to school. My roommate moved out, so I went back to school for like 2 or 3 weeks by myself at Denison. I wasn't on the team. I didn't go to class for 2 weeks in a row. I was like, it was bad. It got like pretty dark for those 2 weeks. And then one morning, well, actually the night before, I had a Britney Spears moment. I had one of my friends from the team come over and shave my head. Like shave my head completely. And then the next morning I was like, I'm gonna go to rehab, and like called the dean. Things like moved mad fast and I went to rehab. So left school, and that was the beginning. I went to an inpatient facility for 35 days in South Carolina, and then did outpatient in Ohio. But yeah, that's how I got there that fast. But I want to hear more about how you got there too.
Yeah, man. I mean, it mirrors you, and that's the thing we learned doing this, bro. We all think we're so unique, but our stories are the same, just a couple of different words in there, right? A couple of different details. The crazy thing, bro, about us, about people like us is like you talk about your grandmother, you talk about your mother, you talk about a role model, like saying, hey, Mitch, like you might want to think about getting help. And it doesn't matter who it is. It could be God. It could be anyone. Like that it's not going to do anything. Like we can't get sober for because anyone else tells us to, man. Like
remind me of who the only person is that can do that.
I mean, that's ourselves, man. That's the only way we do this shit. Like, and it's not about being self-absorbed. It's not about being self-obsessed, but it's about being like that healthy amount of selfish. Like, if I want to be of any use to fucking anyone, like I got to be sober. I got to take care of that. That's the first step to anything. Like, but yeah, man, I mean, my story is much the same. And like you said, you know, we'll go into details, you know, in later episodes, but you know, it started right around that time for me, 8th grade or something like that, you know, and all I knew when I was growing up was like, you know, I'm different. Like somehow I don't feel quite right just sitting in my own skin. I feel like I'm apart, like separate from, like I don't quite fit in with any group here. Yeah, I'm other. I'm really discontent with that, right? You know, I'm like, oh man, like this doesn't feel right. And for me, that first drug was, you know, it was just weed. And it gave me that, like you said, it gave me that calm, that quiet. I was like, oh crap, like my head's not yelling a million different things at me right now. Like, look at this. This is unbelievable. And so I chased that as addicts do. And, you know, like you said, it didn't get any better after that first, you know, after that first drug, after that first drink. Like I sought that feeling out in any way, shape, or form that I could. And, you know, it progressed quickly. It progressed to the point where I was smoking every day and, you know, excessively drinking whenever I could. But, you know, the thing about it is, like, and I'm sure anybody from my high school could attest, like, I was no, like, party animal, man. I was doing this shit alone. Like, I didn't want anyone's company. Like, I wanted, you know, Andrew's ridiculous hamster wheel brain to shut down for a little while. And the thing about it is, like, it came with so much shame and guilt, like, that I couldn't function as a member of, you know, just regular ass society, that I needed to do this, that it honestly, all it did was perpetuate, like, the feelings that brought me back to the drugs, you know. Like it's a vicious cycle of craving and then using and shame and guilt, and that just leads to more craving for me. So yeah, man, I managed, and this is something that, you know, we'll have to dive into eventually here, but like, how the fuck did we manage to play sports? I don't know. I don't know how we managed to play sports, dude. Like, it's unbelievable to me.
We got to bring our coaches on at some point and ask them how coaching us was. That'd be fun.
I don't know, man. I'll have to write a step forward to one of them before we do that talk. Yeah, man. But I managed to play. I managed to fool enough scouts to think that I was, you know, skilled enough to keep playing.
Yeah.
I was a lacrosse player. You know, I got the offer from Denison, and I was like, yeah, here we go. Like, check the box, right? Like, as an addict, right? Like, I was never really excited about anything but getting high. So, like, I just wanted everything else in my life to, like, line up so that it looked like on the exterior everything was fine. like, and that I was hitting all the spots I should, like, oh, I'm 18, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm an athlete. All right, I should be playing some sport in college. All right, cool. Like, check the box. It really wasn't excitement, like, or anticipation or any sort of positive feeling. It was more like relief, like, okay, oof, like, all right, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So I got to college, right? And like you said, it was like, oh boy, we got free reign now. Like, there's nobody to stop me. Like, I don't know anyone here really. Nobody really knows my habits. Like, I can. Some people take college as an opportunity to like reinvent themselves. I took college like
assert myself.
Maybe a little differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, my downfall, I'll say, like, the drug that took me out, and again, it's something we can speak on more, but it was Xanax, man. That was the one. Like, that, it's a strong ass benzo. And being a person who struggles with OCD, I was looking for something, anything to just quiet it down, like, let me have a little bit of peace.
That'll quiet it down.
That'll quiet it down to nothing, bro. You flatlining. Yeah, and I did that, man. I did that. It started, once on the weekend type of thing, and as an addict, immediately, I want to know, where do I get this? Where do I buy, in bulk? Where do, how can I secure myself so that I could take as many of these as I want whenever I want? And that's what it was, man. It took me right through college, and it dominated my life, and through the years, right? We're addicts, and for me, that means like my favorite drug is the next one, and how much do I want? I want more. Like, that it doesn't, after a certain point, it didn't matter. I had injuries, so I got, opiates, and that became another love of mine. And like you said, cocaine, and anything to make me feel like I was no longer the other, to make me feel, even though I was very much the other, I was pushing myself deep into that isolation. Like, when I got high, I was like, I was the man. I could be alone, like playing music loudly in my room, like alone, and I was still, the king, the life of the party, even though it was a party of one, and that's now that we think about it, that's why I didn't see you in college, because you got sober.
Well, the funny thing about that is I was alone in my room too for most of it. You were alone in your room fucked up. I was alone in my room tweaking about drinking and going out. Like, that's actually funny as fuck.
Yeah, bro. We were just on different sides of it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. And yeah, man, and I don't know how I walked. Well, I didn't walk because we graduated on Zoom, but I graduated somehow. Somewhere along the road there, I quit lacrosse, because like, in this disease, like, nothing is more important than getting high. So lacrosse was easy to discard, like, something that was a passion of mine, right? Like, doesn't matter. It's if it's interrupting my, my time to use, then it's out the window. It's no questions asked.
Yeah.
So that, that was one of the first to go. Friends went with it. And I graduated college, pretty much in isolation, just using drugs. after that, I did the things that they talk about to try to cure myself, right? I tried the geographic cures. I tried to move. I moved to Nantucket, and that's not a drug-free environment. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't think there's
My
any anymore.
No, I think you're right, bro. I think you'd have to go to Antarctica and hang with the penguins.
Right.
But but yeah, I went there and it didn't work. Um, I got it more and more out of control, and it came down to the same thing as it did for you, man. It was an ultimatum. It was from my parents. It was, all right, Andrew, like, you're now jobless and homeless. We could send you to treatment, or we're going to cut you off and you're going to have to figure this thing out on your own. And I'm grateful and I'm blessed that I know an individual who works at where I went to treatment ultimately. And she saved my life. She sat me down and said, "You're going to die. You're going to die soon." And that day I checked in. I tried to pop myself a little time, like we do, like same thing as you. I was like, all right, I'll go in a week or two. I'll go in a week. So I'm thinking about all the drugs I got stashed up here in my room. And I'm like, no, I gotta use those. Then I'll go get clean. Like, and she said, no, pack your shit. You're coming today. And from there, life has progressed. I got about a year and a half, a little under a year and a half, clean. Sober date is April 26, 2021. Man, and life is different, bro. But that's how I ended up here. And then, Zoe reached out to me and said, man, you got to meet this dude. And I said, there's no way anyone from my school got sober besides me. Because that's how we think, right? Like, oh, I'm 24, 25 years old. Like, no, nobody else is doing this. Like, I'm alone. I'm unique. But that's not the case, man. Like, that's the beautiful thing about this and what we're doing is like finding somebody else who is as passionate, just like not even about just recovery, but about life. Like, because this is life. This is, that's what addiction is for me. Is like, if I use, I'm dead. Like, even if I'm not physically dead, I'm dead. I'm dead to the world. I'm dead to myself. Like, but if I'm not using, then I'm granted a day of life. Like, whatever that brings, man. So, yeah, man, I'm honored to be here. It's like, it's such a surreal experience sitting here and on a Zoom, like talking about recovery. It's an unbelievable opportunity, dude. So I'm happy you wrote me in, man. But yeah, I hope with what we're doing, like, the cool thing about it is like you and I don't sit on our ass and do nothing all day. Like, we are out and about, like, we're mingled with the general population, like, and I think that's something that in the stigma is this feeling that, oh, if I get sober, or if I start this life, then I'm how could I ever go in a bar again, or how could I ever hang out with my friends? What can and can I, can't I do? And I'm not saying like 2 months sober, somebody should just roll into a bar and start hanging out with their buddies. But
right.
What the gift is that when we work this program, like, we're able to be in situations that we didn't think were imaginable to be in sober. And we're able to do it like with a zest for life, man. Like, which is fucking awesome, man. But yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing all that with me. I think it's so crazy how, like, I know you've touched on it, but it's just I'm so grateful that we like ran into each other when we ran into each other. It's been tripping me out. Um,
Has, man.
I think like when I was like super early, I really wanted like I think the first when I actually when I went to the meetings in Granville, um, when we lived in this like small ass town, or our college was in a small ass town in Ohio. I was 20, and I was like, or I had just turned 21 actually. It was like all these people that were like, it was like low key, it was like 50, 60 plus, and me. And I don't know if you've had this experience in meetings where like like, I mean, you probably definitely have, where you're like definitely one of the youngest, if not the youngest. Um, and I felt I felt connected to them because we're all addicts and alcoholics in recovery. Um, but I didn't feel like fully connected, like, and I didn't feel like they could understand what it's like to get sober, be 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 sober today. Because they got
Mm-hmm.
sober. I mean, if they did get sober when they were 20, it was like 40 years ago. You know what I mean? So the climate we're in now is like far more addicted to everything, like more than just drugs and alcohol. It's like, I mean, you know what I mean? So I've always been searching for more of a community and stuff. And I'd say in the last year, I've pushed myself harder to meet more people younger in recovery, and that's helped. But to be honest, like my first 3 years in recovery, I just like white knuckled the fuck out of it. And it was, bro, it was a mistake. I mean, it was a mistake. I mean, we could get into maybe I shouldn't have gone back to Denison and stuff because you want to change people, places, and things. But um, I'm happy that we're here now. That's all I'll say. I'm happy that I have you to talk to and that we have this thing going because I think it's going to be dope. Because I think myself early in recovery, if I would have watched this, I would have been like, that's dope. Like that they're like that would have given me experience, strength, and hope. And
Mm-hmm.
if all we can do is like plant one seed in one person, that'll be dope. You know what I mean? That'll be sick.
Yeah, man. I mean, that we've talked about this, like, we don't know who's going to listen to this thing. If you're listening, fucking thank you. But, like,
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's cool if we got people to listen, right? But honestly, we're not doing this for them. Like,
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
And
like
you're
you
helping
said,
me.
exactly, bro. Like, you're helping me. Like, I'm doing this so I stay sober. Like, I'm
Right.
doing this so I can stay in this way of life. Like, because it keeps it fresh, because it gives me a person my age, like, doing what I'm doing, to talk to bounce ideas off, like, to have community with, man. Like, we always talk about this, and obviously, this, and also, like, bro, I could fully identify with what you're talking about. Sometimes I feel like I walk up in meetings and, like, I'm like, should I even be here? Like,
Right.
these dudes are all 70 years old.
Yeah. They
Like,
got like 30 years.
yeah, and I'm like afraid to open my mouth because I'm like, oh,
Right.
I don't know shit. Like,
Yeah.
I got no wisdom, zero. Like,
100%.
so I mean, I can fully identify with that, bro. I'm lucky that I have like a young people's meeting. It's actually on Saturday nights. When I don't know about you, but I get, I still get antsy on the weekends sometimes. I'm like, oh
Yep.
fuck, man, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
um but we got a meeting, we got a good community on Saturday nights. I think that shit is important. Like, and like you said, having the example of somebody with a good amount of time under their belt is is important, like essential, right? But it doesn't make my experience, like, day to day being sober, really any better. Like, I need to have somebody who's going through what I'm going through on the same timeline that I'm going through it.
Mm.
Like, because we grow up now, like you said, I mean, you talking about before we started recording, or maybe while we were recording, about scrolling on TikTok for hours at a time, like in quarantine. Like everything that we do as human beings, I feel like is a product of addiction at this point. Like
Right.
companies feed off it, you know. Anything related to my phone is an addiction fueled behavior.
Right.
I mean, you know, we're seeking that comfort or that relief like constantly. So the era that we grow up in now, getting sober, and it's not fundamentally different, but it's the details of it and the simple facts, you know, the drugs of choice and the world that we live in is so different than somebody who got sober in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, without people my age, you know, like you, I mean, and there, you know, I know other young people in recovery, but I think the special thing about what we got is that we went to the same fucking hill in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got the same type of athletic background, like, and we had the same type of ethos right now, which is like, we stay active, we stay physical, we stay engaged spiritually, like we're trying to grow this thing.
Yep.
I think having that, like, if I don't have that, I'm in trouble, because this disease wants me alone. Like,
Yep.
even if I'm surrounded with people, if it's not like-minded people, then I'm alone.
Right.
So, I mean, with you, I mean, that's the beauty of this is I got somebody who's looking for the same thing, that we can just feed off of each other's energy, bro. Like,
100%.
and I can feel that when
Yes,
even
bro.
when we're talking, bro. Even when we're just spitballing, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I fucking love it. It's very exciting.
Yeah, man.
Very, very
So
exciting.
so where do we go from here, man?
Where do we go from here? It's a good question. I mean, we have, like, we could talk about so much shit. That's why I'm so excited about this. Um, so much shit. And it's crazy that we found out like 2 days ago or some shit. And this is the other thing too. I mean, I can't even explain it, but like there's so much shit, bro. Like for real. Like we have so much to talk about. And also the thing is, like, day-to-day stuff, like recovery changes every day. You know, you're only sober day by day. So like or endless stuff to talk about and speak honestly about. But that's crazy that I'm at 5.5 years sober. You're at about 1.5 years sober, and that we're on the same step. That's fucked up. Like that's just trippy. Like, you know
It
what I
is
mean?
mad
Because
trippy, dude.
it's crazy that when I moved to LA, I live in LA now. We were both in Ohio together. So my first introduction to AA was actually in a meeting in inpatient, and then started going to meetings a little bit in Ohio when I was there at Denison. But I think I picked up my 1 year coin in Ohio at a meeting. Mad people came up to me, and I still low key had that mentality of I kind of stayed sober early for the approval of other people. I don't think I don't think I got sober initially. Truly, there were maybe pieces of it, but the only way I could get back to school was to get sober. The only way I could get back on the team was to get sober. To appease everybody else, I had to get sober. And then once I got back to school for those 3 years, sophomore, junior, senior year, if I didn't stay sober, I was gonna get kicked off or kicked out, you know, lose friends, disappointment. So I had like a gun to the back of my head for 3 years to be sober, which was kind of crazy. But since then, since I've left school, um, I think I started getting back into it in meetings. So that's kind of why I'm only on step 4. Um, but at the same time, it all happens as it should. So I think it's pretty dope that we're going to be able to talk about that too, which is crazy.
Yeah, dude. What a step to be on together, bro.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh man. But from it, like what you said, like I still feel that sometimes, that like I'm sober for someone else. Like, and that's dangerous.
Yeah,
Like, that
very,
is dangerous place to be.
very.
I mean, I got sober truly because I didn't really have any other options.
Right.
Like, nah, it
Same.
was like get sober or really kind of like end up on Skid Row, end up on Mass Ave. Like,
Hmm.
I'm from Boston. For anybody who knows Mass Ave and what that's looking like, that's where I was headed. That was door number 2. Door number 1 was rehab. And I mean, yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I was I was getting sober for a girl, because I got a big ego,
Yep.
and I was like, all right, yeah, if I just can clean up my act here, then we'll be back in this person's good graces, right? And little did I know, and this is something I've had to learn again and again and again, is that I cannot control what anyone thinks of me.
No.
Nobody. And so that was a tough pill to swallow, right? And then I'm getting sober for the job, right? I got a dream job somewhere, and I'm gonna go right after rehab, and I'm gonna be so ready to go and spiritually fit, right? And
Yeah.
that falls through, and then I had to look at myself like, all right, why am I doing this?
Yep.
And the beauty of it to me was like, at that point, I felt pretty good. I was like, oh shit, like I could sleep through the night. This is a couple months in, right? Like I could sleep through the night, like without getting cold sweats, and I can hold food. I'm not shaking. I can put on like healthy weight, right? I can go for I can run for a mile. Holy shit. Like I've been able to run for a mile since I was 18 years old. Like I can hold a conversation with somebody without, thinking about the next time I can sneak off to the bathroom. Like, and so when I started adding up all those little things, I was like, oh wait, like this might be worth it to do just for me, and I think that was something I needed. And if I didn't have, like, I don't know if I'd be sober right now, because if I'm not doing it for me, then like that's pretty like weak foundation. Like,
Very much so.
because
That'll get worn down
people,
fast.
yeah, people are, people can love you or be reliable, or whatever you want to say, but like if you're doing something for someone else, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, like resentment, and those are the things that we drink and we use over, So like they say, bro, all I could do is just keep my side, my side of the street clean.
Yep.
That was it. But yeah, bro, I'm excited, man. We could talk about athletics. I think we get a couple guests on here.
Yep.
I mean, possibilities are endless.
For
That's
sure.
all I'm saying.
100%. I'm hyped.
Yeah.
I think it might be time to let you go because you're on the East Coast, so it's a little bit later.
Dude, it's late over here. This
And
is
in
why
recovery, you get to go to bed early. That's also something you get out of recovery.
you get to go to bed early, and you also get to choose when you go to bed.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
That's pretty nice.
That's the bigger one, I think.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'm up early. I work on an oyster boat.
Yes, sir.
We're up at the crack of dawn, but I appreciate you, man. I'm grateful for you. I love you, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that does watch this first one, or any of them. We appreciate it, and we will keep coming back.
Keep coming back, man.